JoJo dreams of mysteries untold, of the woman who lived in the stories of old. Maria, oh Maria, with eyes like stars so bright, guiding through darkness into the light. He hears her whispers in the moon's soft glow. In the secrets of the wind, her voice seems to flow. Maria Orsic, the world changer unseen. In JoJo's heart, you become his queen. Maria, Maria, rise from the past. With JoJo beside you, his legacy will last. Changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he hears your rhyme. She speaks of love, of unity and peace, of a future where wars and divide cease. Maria, guiding JoJo's heart so true, with a vision of a world that feels brand new. She came with wisdom, timeless and strong, telling JoJo the world we all get along. With every word, she lights his way. Maria, Maria, rise from the past. With JoJo beside you, your legacy will last. Changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he is your rhyme. Through the veil of time, her spirit shines, helping JoJo see the world's inside. She shows him how love can break every chain, turning his sorrow into hope again. So here's to Maria, the mother of dreams, hope and love for the human race. Maria, Maria, forever stay in JoJo's heart, you're guiding his way. With visions of light and the world reborn, he carries your spirit from dusk till dawn. We're changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he hears your rhyme. For JoJo, a heart so true, with Maria Orsic guiding him through. Changing the world in her name, he holds her lights, igniting the flame.
In the initiation, he, Hitler, received the force of vril, the victorious energy of Hyperborea. Against him, all the forces of darkness and death have been unleashed, of inertia, of elemental beings. That is why we had to help him. The war was going to be against gods and demons, a cosmic war reflected and dramatized to a zenith here on Earth. He, Hitler, has one last possibility: make the enemy recognizable, unmask him once and for all, Manichaeanly polarizing the cosmic battle between gods and demons, between light and darkness, between the fire and ice, in the rivers, in the seas, knowing that all will be lost in the here and now, so as to be victorious in the beyond, on the other side, simultaneously in a parallel world. And we begin tonight. That was Miguel Serrano, the greatest author, and the greatest artist in general. From our heart to his, a God, a great master teacher, one of the greatest ever, the artist Miguel Serrano. Heil. Remember, my brothers and sisters. Recover, my brothers and sisters, and return to our home, to our and give thanks to the beautiful mother tonight, coming to you. 1, 2, 3, January 23rd, 2026. And I come to you from St. Louis, St. Lucifer, St. Big Lou, who is present with us because he's just a man. And the man has a message. And our message tonight will be about the mark of the beast. 666, the mark of the beast. And we'll try to just be the vessel and let Maria speak to you about these things. Like she said, tell this story. See what I do. I don't really. This is how she wants it to be. She's already, and she's here too, right here, and we hail the great dancer. But she wants people to know that she did her art in my life, in as they targeted me, as they target many people, and we're not ever totally know why. She was countering, you might say, in her own magic. And this is like, the first 5-6 years of the ritual. Like I talk about these sort of big revelations, but the ritual and the meditation lasts at least 2 hours. And I usually tell like 10 minutes of what happened in some of them. And the rest of them, me, her, and my true self, carefully went back through every intuitionally important event that ever happened to me. And the whole message, the whole deeper message was my true self predestined, ordained these things to such a T that just right openly to my face, he was saying, there was no other way but for me to deceive you, who is me, but you're a projection of me. This is how sophisticated you are. I had to trick you into believing in God. Something that so obviously does not exist. And someone might say, what do you mean? The being. When you say God is a being, or really God is anything, but particularly this being, Yahweh, Yahweh's Father, and Yahweh's Father's many names and manifestations and avatars, El Shaddai being one of them, Elohim being another, him? Yeah, him. Who is El? I guarantee you, Maria saying from another position in the cosmic order, El is Darth Vader. El is a character in a story. Whether a man picks that mantle up and runs with it is his business, really. And this is how 666, the beast, came about. because everything, even in simulations, if you're the observer, why does the observer automatically change what he's observing? Because he's observing something that's already happened. And the change was in eternity, each predestined, ordained change. And the prophecy and idea for Aleister Crowley becoming 666 the Beast was communicated to him. He was, using different names, but these were actual Kabbalist black magicians of Europe. Like Maria said, you could consider her the traditional black, traditional European witch, and you can, consider them the traditional, European vampires or werewolves. It's they're creating it. In other words, they're very sophisticated. They're reaching in your unconscious and know that you can't clearly, don't know why you're acting or reacting or deciding, willing your life in a certain way. You follow me? And they, in the most mathematical, diabolical, evil way, they literally have, like Maria said, as far as we know, always through time, the calculations, if they didn't have, computers and electricity, they had like computer like men that could calculate and use, numbers to basically organize people and control their minds. And they know that your unconscious is connected to the imagination, that is actually creating the reality, the matrix reality, right? And back home, right, this is what they're tapping into to deceive people. Like some people have asked me, can you give an explanation? Like, why do so many people believe in God in general? And it's not really so many people, because it is it's basically the survivors and descendants of those who were threatened with violence and force. If they didn't believe in this, they would die. So saying, and I thought the same thing. Like, basically, like how can so many people be wrong? How many, how can so many people's personal experiences recorded in history not add up to something? And this is where you begin to lift the veil, and you see that these experiences are sketchy, shady, all of them, every last one of them. And if there was any magic, it was always dipping back into our ancestors' religion of magic. And someone might say, okay, juxtaposition, juxtaposition. How about that? I can't talk. The two. Well, I mean, it's this basic that they say your purpose is to glorify God by enjoying God. And we say your purpose is to glorify your true self by enjoying your true self. And like she said, ours came, millions of years before. The giants didn't believe in God. This isn't something that came from the previous human race. But you can see how it can be, so obviously used to oppress people, so obviously used for economic control, that there's just no denying that. And, so if you can come with me, you can see the deception that's going on. Basically, Aleister Crowley and the black magicians on another plane of existence that are controlling the matrix, basically they're using what we're talking about against you. And they've been doing it for a long time. And they're very, very good at it, And that is what 666, the beast, means. It means total control over the Trinity person who is in the matrix. And they would like to scare you and make you think that they can take control of your true self, or give you brain damage, or somehow actually hurt you. And this is the truth, though. It's all manufactured. It's all Hollywood. The verses in the Bible translated that his name, the number will be the number of his name. And it says something like, here calls wisdom, who can calculate the number of the beast. And this is, a direct reference to the universal pricing code, because it says, who can calculate the number? Whoever doesn't calculate the number cannot buy or sell. And they think this is so funny because they're like, literally, you can't buy and sell in our system because you can't scan your shit in. You don't have a universal pricing code number. You don't have a barcode for those products. Even online, they have the same thing. It's the same universal pricing code. It's just in a new configuration, right? And like Maria said, it doesn't really this is the deepest revelation. It's coming forth from there. It's coming forth from here. If building up to World War II, the turn of the century, communism, mass war and death and revolution in Russia and other places, and a paranoia in the air that we're going to starve to death was very real. And like she said, once the hunger hits, once the vibe changes and the energy changes to survival and everyone becomes an animal, she said, believe it, Joseph, the slaves, black and white, taken so far away across the ocean from Ireland, from Africa, from India, from Asia, from China. The story that no one, really overcomes these people or this system. This is where they got the idea. They constructed their whole prophecy, the beast, the book of Revelation after. Because at the time, no one gave a shit about the Bible. They were worried about if they're going to eat. They were worried if their husbands or brothers or sons were going to live, because most men weren't. And in a literal way, this empowered England. Like, let's make it clear. What we're saying is this is post, after the world ended. They're making themselves a fictional empire that fits into a story of the gods. But they had to tweak the story and change it themselves. Like Maria, like she's saying right now to me, like it was a script, not a prophecy. And they were using that in a creative way to say, if we use our like human potential energy and just seize this, we are the chosen. This is the birth of British Israelism and the religion of true supremacy, genetics or not, money, power, weapons. It's being put on display every day by the, military wing of the empire known as the United States of Israel. We're showing all the time. And the understanding here is in the understanding of the reading. Somebody had to be it. Someone had to, or put it this way, in real time, the first time Earth, this was as real as anything you're experiencing right now. But even more so, like Maria said, I really didn't find out, many of us didn't find out these deeper truths about ourselves for sure. It's crazy. But you might say, and might wonder, and I'll get back to the history. Um, why doesn't my true self just rescue me? Why doesn't it just step in and do? Um, it's in a sense because it is you. You're the one that's committed to it. Even if you doubt, even if you turn back. And there are crazy, tragic things going on around us, like people getting in accidents, paralyzed for life, or, I mean, real nightmarish. What am I trying to say? We're in a video game that is war between gods and demons, and for us against gods and demons, because people, imagination is creation. They've created this whole reality, just like the Matrix movie, but it's very sophisticated because it's not violating any of the rules of the simulation for one very important reason. This is what they were doing the first time. They're just doing it on a bigger level. This is what is happening right now in 2026 and on the edge of World War Continuance 3. As this is a repeating of World War II. It's just the personalities and victims and power players have been moved around. But the same plan is being obeyed. That's a good word, right? And how did Aleister Crowley become the true 666 beast? Because several, for one, he was born into the British power structure. He was a very avid, very hardcore, disciplined occultist at one time. And he was initiated into many different groups. These groups ended up being the ruling elite deciders of what the British military would do in World War II. Believe they never let the puppet decide things. They're always letting the puppet know, you're a puppet, you do what we say or we kill you. That's why the puppet, no matter who they are, acts so brave on the world stage. This is always because they have the backing of the money. And they know that everything's going to be all right as long as they don't tell the truth. Like, you've seen the $20 bill folded with the plane going into the building. And that $20 bill, I think someone said, was designed in the 40s. It's going in at the same spot that it actually happened on 9/11. The Def Leppard album cover, a big explosion on a giant tower right at the same spot, like 80% up the tower, right on the corner, kind of in the middle on the corner. Why? They're seriously tapping into eternal return. And after June 6th, 1948, it has been the theater of Thelema. It has been their show. And Maria is saying, no, go ahead and say it. The real power behind this machine is We use human sacrifice to scare you into obedience. We show you on a world stage, what we do to our enemies. And this is empire, this is global dominance, obviously. And you see, to calculate the name of his number is to understand. Get this, is to understand the barcode idea, the 666, and the technology actually existed while Crowley was alive. So they invented the technology of this thing that has been repeating for ages. They didn't have it on everything bought and sold in World War II. That's what they were aiming for. They were aiming for economic control. That barcode is a practical way to tax everything with the barcode. So that's what the 666 means, is you're our slaves. We rule you. 6 is afraid of 7 because 7, 8, 9. Okay? And we're back to 0. We're back to doing it again. They have all of this knowledge. Like, they're also guaranteed in their initiations that when they die here on earth, that, they're going to be honored, and they are. And basically, you cannot really imprison spirits anywhere, because wherever they are together, they're happy. So on those days in 1947, right before Aleister Crowley left this world, they constructed this movie, this script of 666, The Beast. It was a creative movie, theatrical thing. And they've built it through all these years to God. Prophesied it. This is God. You know what it is? It's the second coming. So let me tell you. Thus saith Mama Orsic. Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was in those days officially Winston Churchill's handler. And that's why you see this great change in Churchill during World War II and after World War II. He's like a kind of normal English patriot. They Epsteined Churchill. He was the puppet, and not really much more to say about him. I mean, all this history of him and blah, 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 blah is so. Listen, they had to delete themselves out of history also. And they don't want you to know how or why or where or when he became 666 the Beast. But let me tell you, for real, Aleister Crowley is alive and directing these things from another point, another level of astral reality in this matrix. And, it's almost like, doom, revealing that. At the same time, if you can go in yourself to the mental space that he is in, you can at least fight him, resist him, and who's to say him and his people are more powerful than you? Because as we've been teaching, you aren't just here for you. It's much deeper than you're conscious of. Everyone is like consciousness, awareness, awareness. But the whole key of the ritual is becoming aware of what you were unaware of the whole time. Not that it's a single point, that it's always going, that it's always moving life. And people have no idea that Crowley had the plan. See, you read World War II history and you see some kind of trick in the background of, playground level provoking right after millions of people had just died in a world war. And I mean, you look and see. They killed the Archduke of Austria. Who did? Jewish MI6 agent, Jewish intelligence. And it's been really on since then. It's been what you're watching today is the same thing. It's a repeat, a constant lie narrative. It's a lie told until everyone believes it. Just like, there could come someone in the future who takes the Star Wars series and, for so long says, I am Luke Skywalker, that somewhere along the line it gets kind of skewed and lost, and people like, Luke Skywalker, he actually existed. And you might say, yeah, he did in the mind of George Lucas, the author. And they're like, no, he was an actual person. This is a revelation, beyond even George Lucas, the author. And me and Maria kind of look at each other like, oh, so we're dealing with a cult. And, people would call me cultish, but we're pointing out to you the true cultish, because I personally came from it. Maria never went through it. But I did. And you wonder, I was saying earlier, how could, so many so-called smart people who believed in Jesus throughout history, how can this all be? Well, one by one, you deconstruct their story, and you're like, obviously this little supernatural thing was their true self. And everything else is imagination, taking a story and actually an unknown author's intent and creating your own story because basically you're a slave. This is the whole reason this crazy fantasy story was given to you. You know, in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," and blah, blah. Obviously, this is not real or a person's experience. This is obviously a fictional author's beginning to a book. And it's okay. It's okay. You're eternal. There's no need for an all powerful, all knowing being. There's no need. And you are that over yourself. And the narrative was the real commercial narrative was the turn of the century, to the 20th century. Now that we were in the 20th century, that there was going to be a new age. And in most of Europe, Joseph, the new age was like the continuation or conclusion of the age of reason, of like, we're going to celebrate that we don't believe in fantasy fake shit. And at the same time, the myths of our land, of our people, were coming back, and people were asking, well, who are these gods? What are these? Who are they? And this is how Maria, eventually becomes one of the gods. How else can you say it? A goddess. Like she said, master teacher. Anything beyond that is, like she's saying, I'm not saying there's any mystique or intrinsic power in any sort of fake word. But, and Germany in World War I and World War II were as good as any other people and a lot smarter. She said they might, they were like the Silicon Valley of Europe at the time. They had computers. They had most of the things we see now, wireless technology. And the reason the war was declared was that Germany was going to corner the market on these inventions like radio and TV, and that everyone in the whole world would want one and buy one, and that would make them an empire. That would make them, definitely more powerful. And the literal belief, paranoia that eventually they'll come back and kill us. And the whole propaganda, it's never ending. Like Maria said, it's actually boring. It becomes boring to us. The same playbook, the same narrative. That, oh, really? And you can't convince people. You cannot convince them. You're like, they've done this many times before. And we're all too busy. We have to get up for work. I don't think that American people are, any worse than any other people. It's just we're being exploited to the fullest, and a lot of people are thankful for it, which is really gross. Instead of appealing to people on the morality of force and fraud, you have to try to talk to them like, yeah, they're stealing our money. And they care more about that. They're like, I hate to say it, but they're literally so tired and working so hard that they're like, how does this affect me? And like Maria said, the most deadly thing was this attitude of like, I'm just going to ignore the Palestinians. I'm just going to ignore, the people who are really, really, really hurting and suffering, and is forbidden. I mean, God's forbid. Maria forbid. And the lure that 666 the beast, his, you might say, bodyguard, his top black magicians, are all united in the do what you want, except for the slaves. Like everybody wants to do what they want. Everyone wants to be happy. It's what a lot of people want to do. They want to do what makes them happy, right? They're not talking about that, right? They're talking about the full meaning of the full phrase. Except for the slaves. And I'll tell you, along 2025 and August 11th, going into August 12th, man, it almost seems like a whole different world. But I remember it might have been raining. And it was like a little cool for a summer night. And I can't really remember what was happening, but I just remember Maria saying, I know this is inconvenient. I know this doesn't sound good. She's like, but this has to be that you got to, get up out of the bed, come outside. You know, you have to confront this enemy. I'll be with you. Don't worry. She's like, I forbid him from coming in your house. And when I walked outside and I sat down and closed I think I actually laid down on this little kind of lawn chair, and basically I was sort of berated by Aleister Crowley, and he was old and fat, and Maria was telling me he's doing this on purpose to kind of suck me in. This is all about the art of war. All about the art of war. Make your enemy think you're weak. Trump does this all the time. Oh, I'm weak. I care about people. I don't want no killing them. As he moves the equipment into place to kill people. And I went outside, and it was like a fight of narratives. I think there was some of him saying, like, you said this about me, and me being like, thinking to myself, like, that's not exactly what I said, but that's probably more what I meant, because we shouldn't waste a lot of time. We should not waste a lot of time in just like name calling and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, he was telling me that I was a slave and it didn't really matter about Maria Orsic because, that can be after I die. But this was his world order, and that, like, every little personal insult, just think of how Trump this is, I was going to pay for. He was going to make me pay. And he also said he was going to attack and make everyone at the group rituals pay for laughing at him and some of his main people. And like I said, they do a lot of this as bait to bait you into it. See, behind the mask is a very disciplined magician that practices, his magic, practices his meditation. He has a practice, he has a ritual. He is in contact with other worlds, other people on other planes, especially Crowley himself. And like Maria said, one thing it proved is Crowley, he's alive in the Matrix on the astral plane. He's, I don't really spend a lot of time trying to convince people this is who's behind all this, but that's the truth. The truth is the truth. And and the explanation to how this can happen is so clear. It's I hesitate to use, like, because of course they have counterfeit and everything is so confused, but the Bible is the ultimate Mandela effect, right? Because they invented like a new form of Christianity. And, obviously it was like Zionist, supernatural. And just like the Mandela effect, they just went back and used AI, used predictive programming through AI, through high tech global analysis, even. Global, what they're using computers for is to tell them the unconscious of areas, peoples, and the whole entire humanity. And the people with the technology, that's why they know technology has come to like a tipping point of like the knowledge is not going to go back in the barn. And their need and practical understanding that what they've done, they've been so evil, they've killed so many people, completely plays into that the plan all along was because they've been teaching their people all along this is a false reality created by people in the future. It's what they teach you in Scientology. It's what they teach you in Process Church. They're like the aliens are you. Your true self is intervening in a technological world. It's why you are like alien to yourself. They hit the people with a lot of truth, a lot of explanations, answers to the absurdity of God. It's completely childish and absurd to think there's this all powerful thing totally just fucking with us. It likes some people, hates some people, intervenes in some people, overall it's allowing all of this evil, never intervening. Uh, this is the reality that, you know, this is the divide. Okay. People who believe that a book is a supernatural fantasy come true, right? Juxtaposed with people who have taken that myth, committed their lives to being the fulfillment of it on a mythological fantasy level and manifest it in real life, in the real life matrix, right? So you see why they needed the masses. Without the masses, it would never work. Without the masses, it's insane that the billions of people believe in, and we're not atheists. We believe in the afterlife. We believe we're eternal. We believe what you see in God, we see in you, because it's real. Because your essence really is that. That is also, what they're taught. And I hate to say it, but it's been quite a war. That was August 2020, in the middle of COVID. And it was like the next week or so that I recorded the first 3 episodes of just like my basic story of being a child and meeting the woman on the UFO in my backyard. And like she said, she's here intervening because she's still at war with 666 the Beast. And as they reconstructed the book of Revelation for the post World War II version, and people like, we have the manuscripts. You have no real manuscripts. Everything you have is coming from their opinion and telling you when it was, where it was. At some point, our people are never in control of our history. And like Maria said, we like it that way. It forces you to do what you did, Joseph. Go inside, do this ritual, and experience history. And to overcome 666 the Beast, to overcome the world, is basically to overcome death, which does not exist because the world does not exist. And just to know and relax that each last breath of each person is their first breath in a brand new world. And, if you're following us and listening to Maria and applying it to your life, the natural energy will attract us to you and you to us, and whether you're living or dead. And because we'll never let forgetfulness ever again fall upon us, right? We will conquer eternal return. And may the Oz rune and may the E rune, which says think of the end. Think of it, contemplate it. It's a beginning. Know that. And Maria wants you to know that this isn't her first rodeo. The Matrix has been going past 1948 for many, many thousands, if not millions of years. Right? I know that sounds incredible and out of range for practical, rational. But when you factor out that you don't have to eat, drink, or sleep where we come from, and there's now not much need for money or security, and there's not a lot of fear of going into a meditation and someone robbing your house or violating your sex organless body. Time becomes abstract. And we talk a lot about it back on Venus to each other about, I went into a meditation for 5 days and it seemed like 5 hours. She said, we know people, Joseph, as you know. We know one who's here right now, who's been in a meditation, basically without the help of any external technology except being connected into the holographic Earth matrix. Lou has not been walking around in the world we come from for thousands of years. Thousands. He's like, I visit on the astral plane and I visit people inside of them. He's like, everything's advanced way beyond even what we used to conceive of art. He's like, once in a while, I will compose a song again. But like Maria, my art has been to help brothers and sisters who come to the simulation with dreams. And, if you feel like you have significant dreams and don't understand them, hear my story. I had a lot of dreams. And when I started doing this ritual, I stopped dreaming altogether in a miraculous change way. You know why? Because the dreams were like looking in a mirror. And the ritual is like face to face. No longer, the main person for me was Maria. She's my mother, my teacher. So I didn't need no dream. All the dreams were really confirmation that her and I were communicating and working on these other levels. And back home, we wish you from home to here to your astral heart the biggest, most beautiful
In the rhythm of the earth, I feel like ancient spirits dancing, guiding the night. With every wave of the river, I hear your song. You whisper through the trees where we all belong. You're the echo of the ages, a sacred call. You're the return of the ancient ones. It's true, the melody of life, it's all in you. Our love may manifest through and through. Together we rise in every shade and hue, flowing like the water, nurturing the ground. In the cradle of creation, our hearts are found. You're the mother of dreams, the stars up above. With every breath I take, I feel your love. Go forth, my soul, in peace and harmony. You're the return of the ancient ones. It's true, the melody of life, it's all in you. We are love made manifest through and through. Together we rise in every shade and you embrace the love